Welcome to the Fleet Geeks podcast. We're here to help develop fleet and transport professionals. Do you want to progress and develop your skills and knowledge? We promise to bring lively conversation and debate around interesting issues and keep you bang up to date with changes in our awesome industry. The Fleet Geeks are a community of professionals, and if you enjoy the podcast, why not join the discussion for free in the Fleet Geek community over on Facebook? Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Fleet Geeks podcast. I am with a very nervous Pam, who is one of our flagship consultants. She's absolutely awesome. She specialises in transport and safety, and I'm not the best at pronouncing her surname. I think it used to be Davies, which I can pronounce nice enough, but is it Meisel? Meisel, not measles.
No, not measles.
I should have checked that probably before we went on, but there we go. That's me just being a terrible person. So Pam, I'm going to hand over to you whilst I open my can, and it's going to click very loudly like I'm the Diet Coke man. But it has been pretty warm around here recently. Pam, could you, for the benefit of the listeners, are you able to just introduce yourself, tell them a bit about you, how long you've been in the industry, because you have very much been there, seen it and done it, haven't you? So go on, I'm going to hand over to you, and when you're like sick of talking, just like, give me the cut sign or something like that, and I'll just jump in. Now I might just interrupt you. To be fair, what I sometimes do is I'll just interrupt and ask a question. So over to you. Tell them about you. They're ready and willing to listen and looking forward to it.
Okay, thanks, Pete. So I've been in the transport industry for about 28 years now, which makes me sound incredibly old.
You don't look a day over 28.
Thanks, yeah. I'll take your word for it. I had a hard paper round. So I started off in just dispatch and helping organise forklift drivers, worked my way through. I eventually did my Class 1 licence because I got fed up of drivers telling me, how can you tell us what to do our job, you can't do it.
Fair play.
So
she's determined, people. She's a determined woman.
Absolutely. So I did that, and then I thought, well, knowing drivers, they'll say to me, you've got your licence, but you've never used it.
Okay.
So on the back of that, I actually went on the road. I initially intended to do about 2 years and then go back in an office, but I actually spent 7 years on the road.
Oh, you enjoyed it?
I did. It was okay.
Nice.
I used to be away all week as well, on Class 1 general haulage.
Yeah.
Done various other bits and pieces on the road as well, fridge boxes. I did a bit of work for Veolia on Ro-Ros and that sort of thing. So huge change. Moved back into the office and gradually worked my way up. I was area transport manager at Forterra Building Products. So
nice.
Bricks and blocks, stick a crane on a truck and you can treble the problems.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah.
And then I moved to Flagship this year.
Yeah, amazing. And it's a pleasure to have you here, I must say.
Thank you.
Pam is like a breath of fresh air in the office. She's not that the rest of them haven't got good attitudes, but she's got an amazing attitude. And you're very positive about your work, which I love. So if you don't mind me asking then, tell me, what is it that excites you? What drives you? What is the meaning behind it that's important for you?
Transport or just in general?
Transport, your work, what you do, why you do it.
I've always loved transport. I've always enjoyed the fast-moving environment.
Sure.
I do enjoy the firefighting to a certain extent when I was in an operational role. So from that point of view, I always thought of it as a bit like a chess game, transport.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're thinking 3-4 moves ahead, and you have to make a decision there and then with the information you've got.
Sure.
In an hour, it might not be the right one, but as long as you can justify it.
Just got to do your best.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, awesome. And I guess my other interest is it's a very male-dominated business environment. I'm interested to understand what's it like for a woman in the industry, particularly 7 years of driving. And obviously you felt a need to want to go driving because there was that attitude around, well, you can't tell me what to do because you've not done it. So yeah, I'm interested to hear a bit more about that.
So I think it has its definite benefits being a woman in the transport environment. As a driver, I'd either be stuck on site for ages because everybody would want to keep you talking,
Right.
or I'd be in and out of there in 20 minutes. One office, I remember, always turned around and said to me, I never realised we had so many forklift drivers in this place.
Oh, really?
Because all of a sudden I'd pull up wanting to get tipped and they'd all come and...
Oh, they'd want to help you?
Yeah, funnily enough.
Okay, nice. Yeah, fair play.
From a management point of view, though, I think it really helped because having a woman involved just lowered the level of testosterone in a room.
Sure.
So any conflict management became a lot easier because I think, and I don't like to stereotype, but most men, you put a woman in the scenario, it does de-escalate things.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's a good strategy. Have you ever felt like you get spoken down to because you're a woman?
Maybe in the early days.
Yeah, okay.
But I think as I've spent longer in the industry and experience has grown, there are, obviously times change as well, so there isn't the stigma attached with being a woman in the industry. It's becoming more commonplace, although it's far from commonplace.
Yeah, sure. And something I see increasingly, like on my Facebook feed, is more and more women involved, but maybe they're glamorising it a bit more and they're taking their photos and doing their Instagram and stuff like that. I suppose they've got a lot of followers and get a lot of attention naturally because it's male dominated. What are your thoughts about that side of stuff? Because I imagine that's not really something you'd do, if that makes sense.
No, it's not something I'd do, but I think one of the reasons we haven't got enough women in the industry is because they can't picture themselves in the roles.
Yeah.
So anything where you've got people online and socials that are posting themselves doing the job,
sure,
I think is a positive because it means people, although that might not be for them to plaster themselves over socials,
sure. Yeah.
It actually means they could picture themselves doing that job.
Yeah, it's about representation. Yeah. No, that makes sense. And that's something, I suppose, as a white middle-aged man, where everything's white middle-aged men, it's something that I've just learned. I learn about every day about representation and realising that it's about picturing yourself doing it. It's about seeing other people like you doing it that then makes it relevant for you. Amazing. Okay, cool. Okay, so moving on then. When you're not at Flagship, what do you love doing? I know you like a bit of the old bat and ball.
I do play golf, yeah. Well, I try to. At the moment, it's not going very well.
Is it a golf bat? No, it's not. It's a club, isn't it?
It is a club.
It's a club, yeah. So how good are you at golf? Are you good at it or are you rubbish?
Well, my handicap says I'm okay. I play off 19.
Right, that's decent.
My current performance is far below that.
Yeah, okay. Yes, it's funny for the listeners. I'm part of a network called BNI, and there's a golf competition, which I'm rubbish at golf because any sport that I couldn't just like roughhouse my way through it, I've never been very good at because it actually needs technique. I always manage to ruffle my way through most sports just through pure grit and strength, but golf is not one of those sports, sadly, is it? But yeah, there's a golf day, and I messaged Pam going, "You interested in the golf day?" And you messaged back going, "I'll make myself available." So I'm guessing you can shuffle your diary to make that happen.
It's incredibly frustrating to learn.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I can imagine. I've not actually ever tried 18 holes. I've done pitch and putt. I've done crazy golf, and I've done. Is it called crazy golf still?
Yes, it's still called crazy golf.
Crazy golf. I always think whether it's allowed to be called crazy golf anymore, if that makes sense, just from a stigmatising point of view. I
think it's the people you're not allowed to call crazy anymore.
Yeah, okay, cool. You're allowed to call the golf stuff that way. So yeah, crazy golf, and I've done, what's the other one? The driving range, and I give it the old shake of the hips, and I thrust it as hard as I can, and it goes about 20 yards in the wrong direction.
Sounds familiar.
How far can you on a driving range? How far do you drivable?
Hi, I'm Shani from Flagship Partners. We're proud to sponsor the Fleet Geeks podcast, your go-to source for all things fleet management. If you're looking for expert advice or high-quality training for your fleet business, make Flagship Partners your first choice. We're also thrilled to announce the launch of our Fleet Academy, designed to support and develop future fleet leaders through expert-led and career-focused training. Our offering includes fully accredited courses such as the Transport Manager CPC training, CPC refresher courses, OLAT training, plus ongoing mentoring, support and professional development beyond the qualification. Our vision is simple: to develop elite fleet professionals who drive excellence across the industry. Let's shape the future of our fleet management together.
My average drive is about 180, 200 yards. So.
Okay, is that good?
It's okay, especially for a woman.
Yeah, is it? All right, okay. So there is an element of strength involved in
Yeah.
it then. So the stronger you are, but it's very much
Also,
technique.
it's great at this time of year when everything's rock solid because we haven't had any rain. The ball runs a mile, so that helps.
So you get a good bounce and everything. Yeah.
Mind you, at this time of year, you don't know which direction it's going to bounce in.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. So, because it is so hard, there's no
Yeah.
give. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. And how many times a week do you play golf?
At least once a week at a weekend. This time of year, I can sometimes get out after work in the afternoons as well.
Oh, that's nice too. And where do you play? Do you play locally in Peterborough or are you a
so
member somewhere?
my home club's at Thorpewood in
Okay.
Peterborough.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
cool. So you're just around the corner. So sometimes I'm surprised Pam's not caught me, or we've caught each other out there, because sometimes I do my afternoon meetings at the pub at the Woodland at Thorpewood, because it's right next to my gym, which is at David Lloyd. So, excuse me, because I've got a bite on my calf and it's really itchy. Anyway, people aren't watching on video, so they can't see me do that. Okay, cool. So, bit of an intro to you then. So, you've driven, you've been a transport manager, you started off planning and doing all sorts of stuff like that. What out of all of it has been the toughest job?
That's a difficult one because they all have different challenges
Okay.
depending on what you're looking at. I think probably the area transport manager was toughest, but for different reasons.
Okay.
I think because of the number of drivers and vehicles that were actually under direct management.
How many?
So at one point across 2 sites, I had 54 drivers.
Wow. Okay.
And there was no point of contact between myself and them. So my phone would start going at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
And then I'd be getting emails at 10 o'clock at night from service providers saying, oh, the truck's not going to be ready.
Right, okay.
So it was...
A really 24/7 job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always remember the first phone call I ever got as my area transport manager was a driver ringing me up at 4 o'clock in the morning saying, I left my card in and DAF moved it and now it's telling me I need a break. What should I do? I was like, and you're ringing me at 4 o'clock to ask that?
Ouchies. So that's when the value of training comes in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, that sounds pretty tough. But out of all of them, and I'll take Flagship out of the mix so that you don't feel obliged to say Flagship. What's been the favourite? What's been the best?
Area transport manager still. But then I do thrive.
So toughest and the best.
I do thrive on a challenge.
Okay.
I don't like anything that becomes mundane and that I feel like I can do with my eyes shut.
Okay.
I start switching off.
Yeah, no, I love that. So I reckon my patience would wear pretty thin if I was getting phone calls at 4 a.m. from drivers saying that they'd left their card in by accident. So you must have the patience of a saint. Have you got a favourite story from when you were out on the road? Let's put you on the spot, hasn't it?
It has.
I'll talk for a minute whilst you're having a think about it. So whilst you're having a think about it, I'm just going to explain a bit more about what Pam does for Flagship. So Pam is a transport and safety consultant. So not only has she got a TMCPC, she also trains people. She does driver CPC. She does safety consultancy because she's got a safety qualification. So she do things like writing health and safety policies, advising on risk assessments and procedures and RAMs and all of those kinds of things. So she's a pretty handy person to know. Have you thought of a story yet?
No, not really a story, but probably one of the worst experiences I ever had was loading up in up near Carlisle.
Okay.
It was a horrendously windy day.
Okay.
I'd driven back from Scotland because we'd taken some exhibition stuff up to the Scottish Exhibition Centre.
Okay. SCC.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
So we'd driven back empty down to Carlisle and we had to load peat. Not you.
Yeah, not
And
me.
peat as in
As in soil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was at least 6 of us on this site, not all from the same company, and I've never known drivers work together like it because as soon as you open the curtains on the trailer, they were over the roof.
Oh,
There
really?
were, each side there was like 6 of us hanging onto each curtain. It was just probably one of the most horrendous loading experiences I've ever had.
That sounds awful. Yeah, okay.
It was good to get some weight on the truck eventually, though, after driving back down the M74 with nothing on.
Yeah, I can imagine in windy condition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I think the wind has got to be like one of the most challenging of all the conditions, isn't it? I suppose ice is one of them, and wind is another. So yeah, okay, fantastic. So what else can we tell these guys about you, Pam? What's your favourite bit? I'm not going to ask about your favourite role with Flagship, but what's your favourite bit about working for Flagship and working with customers? What sort of gives you a bit of a buzz? What makes you go home and go, oh, that was a good day?
I think it's because no days are ever the same.
Okay.
So the variety I do enjoy. And also then when you see people making progress and you get the small wins, and you go home and go, yeah, actually what I've done, that's been worth it.
Yeah, okay.
So it's just those gradual improvements that you see as well.
And I must congratulate you because I think you've settled in fantastically well in the short time you've been with us. But I know that you might have been quite nervous the first time you did your driver CPC course. I've just got a memory. We're sat in the room where I remember you delivering it.
Yep.
Tell me a bit about that experience.
I was determined to be planning, prepared well for it because, I didn't really know what to expect. I've done in a room, I would have been fine, but it was on Zoom, and never really having conducted a Zoom meeting before either. Yeah. It was a baptism of fire.
Yeah, it's a big learning curve.
Yeah, they are harder as well to engage people on. So I knew that I had to be well prepared to get people participating.
Sure, and tell me a bit about. Like what had you prepared? What had you done to get ready for it?
Well, I've just gone through and made sure I was aware of the full presentations. I found some other videos and done some more quizzes, just to try and get people involved.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than sitting there listening to yourself for 7 hours. Never mind listening just.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think, so I think with CPC, there's the challenge that it is 7 hours. It's such a long time as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Particularly online, particularly if you're struggling to engage a room. Because actually, one of the things with CPC that I think is really important to remember is, I don't think it matters how good you are as a trainer. Sometimes you've just got a difficult group.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be difficult because they're all quiet. And sometimes it might be because you've got a small group and one's just dominating it and you can tell they're all getting irritated with them talking. But then at least you've got someone talking, which is handy as well, right? So I'm a big advocate for CPC for having at least 8 or more people because you normally have a couple of chatterboxes then. But yeah, it is online. It's really tricky because people feel like they can just hide in the background, and then there's a bit of a lag between you finishing speaking and them talking, and then that feels like a silence, and the silence feels awkward, and yeah, it's just really tricky. And you kind of got to just slow the whole communication process down and just give people time. You're there for the day, aren't you? So it's really tricky.
I think they go so much better in person though.
Yeah.
When you've got a group of drivers in a room, they're always going to find something to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And give that extra discussion element to the whole day.
And they build that trust. I think with Zoom as well, you never know if there's people in the background and you don't really know who's listening or paying attention. So you've got to be everyone's very guarded, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's the thing. And
there's been a couple where I've had drivers on it and you know that their managers are sat just behind them.
Right, okay.
So they're never going to open up fully.
No, they're not going to talk, yeah. No, it makes total sense. They're not going to talk about stuff. Whereas when you've got them in a room, you know you've got a captive audience. It creates safety, psychological safety. It creates, and that's really positive. Awesome, Pam. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us on the Fleet Geeks podcast. This is part 1 of 2. So Pam's just done this first one as a bit of an introduction, so you get to know who Pam is. She's quite an exceptional consultant and trainer, as I said. And in the next one, she's prepared her top 5 things that she finds are the biggest challenge for operators when she first goes to see them. So that's going to be really interesting. So please stay tuned next week for that one. And thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you on the next podcast.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please share with your friends and colleagues too. Join us for free on Facebook with the Fleet Geeks community for transport and fleet managers. Fleet Geeks offers ongoing professional development, networking and mentoring too. So get in touch with me, Pete Rushmer, on any social media platform to find out more.